over $3 billion in penalties TD Bank, the second largest bank in Canada and 10th largest bank in US, has to pay. Hey guys, this is Seth, a former banker, and in this video I'm going to talk about what's going on with Toronto Dominion Bank, commonly known as TD Bank. TD Bank, the fastest growing Canadian bank in US, has pleaded guilty to conspire to commit money laundering with criminal organizations and drug cartels from Mexico and Colombia. The penalties include $3.09 billion in fines and a cap on asset growth at $434 billion. There is a restriction on opening new branches and launching new products without prior approval. There is a requirement to conduct an independent review of the board of directors and the management. There is a requirement of certifying the dividend payments to make sure that enough resources have been allocated to fix the compliance issues and anti-money laundering issues before the dividend payments are made or capital distribution has been done. There is a requirement of independent review of anti-money laundering program, comprehensive corrective action, and suspicious activity review. The Federal Reserve of America has made it compulsory for TD Bank to relocate their US anti-money laundering program to the country to be overseen by US regulators. Two of the TD Bank's employees have been charged, and Financial Crime Enforcement Network will oversee the independent review of the anti-money laundering program to find further involvement of the employees in failing to flag the money laundering transaction. This is the mix of criminal and civil penalties. What went wrong? According to US Department of Justice, the bank failed to monitor $18.3 trillion in customer activity over a span of 6 years. Between January 2014 to October 2023, the gaps in anti-money laundering program allowed 3 money laundering schemes to launder $670 million through bank accounts. One of those schemes involved 5 employees of the bank who opened and maintained accounts that were used to launder $39 million, which were actually the proceeds from the drugs coming from Colombia. The Department of Justice mentioned one particularly confident criminal by the name the Ying Saza, also known as David, who laundered $470 million over the span of 3 years. There were accounts under other people's name. Mr. David repeatedly deposited large sums of cash, sometimes more than $1 million in single day, moving those funds through wire transfers or official bank checks. In the footage, the account holder is seen sitting at the background without engaging in the transaction going on in his own account. With $8.5 million worth of bank checks issued and more than 500 reports showing that Mr. David is making suspicious transactions, the bank employees failed to mark the transaction as suspicious. Mr. David, who pleaded guilty in 2022 for laundering money, said that he tried numerous banks to launder money but found TD Bank's procedures and policies the most permissive. Another wholesale gold, diamond, and jewelry business opened 5 shell companies to launder $120 million within 13 months. TD Bank is not only the second largest bank in Canada or 10th largest bank in US, it is also the 6th largest bank in whole North America by assets, serving 27.5 million people all around the world. They have 1,150 branches stretching from Maine to Florida. After their deal to acquire First Horizon Bank in Tennessee fell through, they had plans to open 150 more branches in US by 2027. They have already hired 40 leaders and more than 700 anti-money laundering specialists to deal with the situation. They have separated $4 billion to pay for their fines. Out of those $3 billion, $1.8 billion is due to Department of Justice, $1.3 billion is due to Treasury's Financial Crime Enforcement Network, and the rest is due to other regulatory authorities. The TD Securities, which include corporate lending and investment banking, is unharmed. There are no restrictions on TD Securities. They can expand it. TD Bank is very strong financially. They have hundreds of billions of dollars that was going to be used for expansion in US. It is now available for them to expand their corporate lending. Since 2018, the bank has grown so much that 90 to 95% business is based on retail banking and 30 to 40% of their business is in America. The most growth bank had was it is in its asset, which is actually the case with every bank. But they have also increased their trust among the depositors, reaching up to $1.3 trillion in deposits. TD Bank grew its assets from $1.3 trillion to $2 trillion, out of which $434 billion is in US. It's like one fourth of their assets. Now those assets have been checked. They cannot grow beyond that limit. Actually, the management has decided to slash those assets by 10%. So I'm assuming they are not going to go beyond $400 billion in their assets in America from now on for a couple of years. They're allowed to open new branches and launch new products with additional approvals, but considering the fact they cannot grow their assets, that won't be a good business decision. The share price of the bank is also dropping since the press conference last Thursday. The bank can buy back their shares to restore the confidence of the investors. There hasn't been any run on the bank. That means that the depositors still trust the bank. In fact, the deposits have increased in last quarter compared to the quarters previously. But the management had decided to increase their liquidity coverage by 150% to meet any undesirable scenario if it happens. The management has also said that there would be $500 million of cost to fix entry money laundering program in next year, so they are calling 2025 as a transition year. In the end, I would like to mention the lax attitude of the employees of the bank that was also mentioned by the Department of Justice on Thursday. One compliance officer sees a customer depositing over $1 million in cash on the counter of the bank, and he asks another compliance officer in an internal messaging system, "Do all awful ones come here to bank? LOL." The other compliance officer replies, "Yeah, we are the most convenient, America's most convenient bank." Thanks for watching. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a very good long weekend.